Hello again, Roast Nation. Chris and Angie are here for Prime Roast, and we're here to. Oh, there's a lot to make fun of. I have to tell you that. Angie, this is going to be a fun week. I was watching the Cash Patel nominations, or the nomination hearing in the Senate this morning. It was jam packed with, some lunacy on the left side. We'll talk about that. How's your week going?
Oh boy. No, it's all lunacy, Chris. They all just want to grandstand, have their 5 minutes of media. They don't even want to vote. They just want to push through an agenda. We're seeing this over and over again. Can you just do the work, senators? Can you just get this done instead of just taking up space and time that we don't really need to afford? We need to get someone in the FBI right away. I mean, I wish they would just get on with it.
Well, they're trying to dodge DOGE. That's what they're doing. They're putting up the last front for the deep state. And even old walrus face himself, John Bolton, was happy. Were praised USAID because they gave him a nice little, a replica hand grenade for his service.
I was on an airplane with John Bolton recently, and you know what? He was reading his own book.
Okay. Well, that's a lot like when he was singing "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay" and all those. Wait, that's Michael Bolton.
Oh, no, wrong guy.
I can only tell those two apart because one doesn't have that mustache. You have a pal with us today, by the way.
Yeah, we have a very special guest with us today, and we got to pick his brain for all the newsing that's been happening on. That we have Chad Hagen joining us. Thank you, Chad. He's coming in from Atlanta this morning. Chad is a philanthropist, an author of a new book, and also a hedge fund manager, and he's all things politics. So welcome to the show, Chad.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be on.
Yeah, no, we got to pick your brain because we got some craziness happening on the Capitol Hill this week, and we need someone who's going to make sense of all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure, right? I mean, it's a goofy time right now.
Craig, if you're going to be, I have to say, I said Craig. Sorry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chad, are you going to take part in that trend, the new hedge fund owners trend, where you're going to buy a baseball team or some kind of major league sports team?
I mean, it's funny. It's like I'm on the family office side, which is a much sleepier way of investing and kind of focused on long-term value for the most part, unless it's like one of the wealthiest families in the world. So I think a baseball team probably has the best value in American sports. I've worked on a number of sports deals. When you look at NFL or NBA, they're just incredibly overpriced, and you have to wonder if there's a reckoning. Or I know Trump's recently said he's going to end tax breaks for NFL owners and stuff like that. And it's a bit ridiculous. So, to your point, I think the MLB better value, NHL better value. We'll have to see. I'm a baseball fan, so I wouldn't mind owning a team.
How about some little leagues?
It's funny. I think little league, right? But minor league teams, not to talk about value investing, but I think if those make money, if there's a path to financial profitability, I think those are a better value. But obviously, sports in America is like a religion. It's big business.
Oh, there was a minor league. There are a couple of minor league teams that make a lot of money, like the Durham Bulls, but that's only because of that baseball movie. Actually, I will contend this. Bull Durham was not a baseball movie. It was a chick flick disguised as a baseball movie. You're not going to beat Major League. It's not going to happen. You're not going to beat Pride of the Yankees. That's not going to happen. So you can't go either one of those ways. They figured they do the chick flick thing. But didn't they do that with the Boston Red Sox and Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah, they keep making these movies where they mix women and baseball. I'm not sure what that genre is. There's another one with Gina Davis and Madonna. A League of Our Own? Is that
one? But there was a league. There was a women's professional baseball league. A little piece of trivia. There was an Astros player named Casey Candell who played for the Houston Astros during around the time of that movie. Winds up his grandmother led that league in hitting one year.
Moneyball, right? That's a great one. And I don't know.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, a chick flick.
Yes.
Get off topic again. We always get off topic, Chris.
Wow. Major League was a great movie. I'll leave it at that.
Bob Uecker recently passed away. He was great in Major League.
That's right. Harry Doyle. He was great in all three of them. He even carried the third one. So that's a good one. Yes, I know there was a third one with Scott Bakula nobody knows about, but That's another story for another day. Speaking of minor leagues, we're watching some Democrat senators yammer on about their distaste for Kesh Patel, or I should say, their distaste for accountability. So let's watch some of them. Like Senator Whitehouse, who decided, I don't know where he's getting this idea. He decided that he was going to re-invoke the Russian collusion hoax to voice his displeasure for Kesh Patel.
The Trump Russia thing was, I'm not going to go back all over it, fully ventilated in the Senate bipartisan intelligence report, in the Mueller report. Trump Russia.
I want to stop with the Mueller report because I also produce Dr. Jerome Corsi's podcast, and he says this several times. When they brought him and Roger Stone out in handcuffs and let CNN videotape it. Yes, I know. Remember, that's when the FBI were a bunch of thugs. The idea was that they wanted to get Dr. Corsi to lie in front of Congress and say that he knew Julian Assange and he was associated with him and the whole thing, so they could tie Russia and Donald Trump. Dr. Corsi said he was not going to lie, didn't do it. So that's why the Mueller report, it was gone. It went down to the memory hole for a little while, or a long time, because they couldn't use it since they couldn't get Dr. Corsi to lie about it. So there you go.
All right. So where are we with this? Are they going to vote for Kesh Patel or not? I mean, is he getting in, or is this just all just like showmanship?
I'm pretty sure he's in, and this again, this is going on while we're taping this, so I'm pretty sure anybody who's watching this knows the results, or at least might know the results by now. Let's hear some more of the old White House guy.
Was a thing. We stopped talking about it, but Trump kept talking about it and saying it was a hoax. Trump Russia hoax, Trump Russia hoax. No, it was not a hoax. It was real. It was there. There's a record. Part of it was bipartisan work. Some of it was done in the House. There was an abundance of evidence about the Trump Russia connection.
No, there wasn't.
Chad, why are they still pushing this narrative? I mean, it's been debunked over and over again, but is it like marketing? If you say it 7 times, people believe it?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. There's been a number of studies, Gallup and Pew, right? 2 reputable organizations, very reputable organizations, that have shown within Democrats and Republicans which side trusts mainstream media more, and Democrats trust mainstream media. And so I think my theory and a lot of other people's theory is that the left keeps piping these messages out because they know the majority of Democrats who watch mainstream media completely believe this. On the other end, Republicans, it's like trust in the mainstream media is like an all-time low. It's like below 10% or below 20%. So without a doubt, this is just the mouthpiece of the left-leaning party, and they love piping these messages out. It's hyperbolic, it's crazy. But recently I heard something that about voter ID law, that they were saying that this could take away married women's right to vote because they've taken on their husband's last name.
What?
Yeah, exactly. That's another phony narrative. They're trying.
Totally funny, but when you think about it, it plays into what they're stating with abortion. They're rolling back rights, and they're trying to make it sound like eventually, if you're a female, you're not going to be able to own property in America, and you won't be able to vote.
Personally, if you're young and you're going to be growing up in the next few generations, the property is going to be so expensive that you're not going to be able to own property. And the World Economic Forum will live their dream of you'll own nothing and like it. That, my friends, has to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You're absolutely right, Chad, because White House is going to be playing on MSNBC tonight, and that one little clip is going to go round and round and round and make the news cycle. Absolutely. It's insanity, but I don't know. Do you think they think that the left is that dumb that they're just going to be like, oh yeah, it's just more red meat?
Yeah, it's just red meat. I mean, I think it's easy for us to point fingers and say they're that dumb, but the trust in the mainstream media by leftists is it's very, very high. It's like 75% of leftists or Democrats, whatever you want to call them. I try not to use the word liberals because if we all know like what true liberalism means, but and it's certainly not what the Democrats embody in today's world, but they trust the media. And so you have these mouthpieces like White House and all the others just continue to kind of throw out this rhetoric, and it's played on MSNBC and CNN at night, and And I think it's just it's really, really irresponsible. But you also have to place a lot of the blame on these Democratic voters and supporters who just believe what mainstream media says.
So there's a theory right now that a lot of these leftists are coming on air because the Democratic Party want to get rid of them. So they want to show the craziness. They want to show the loud mouths because they want them out of the party. They realize that this is part of the problem, right? So they're letting them air out their frustrations just to show off how silly they are, just to get rid of them. What do you think of that?
I mean, that would be wonderful if that's true, right? We've got a problem with these crazy activist leftists in America.
Yeah.
As far as they're believing the media, it's almost cult-like. We want to hear some more out of this Patel discussion. We have the valor thief himself, Senator Blumenthal, raising fears about a potential goon squad.
Willful ignorance and support of Kash Patel will turn the FBI potentially into a sycophantic goon squad ready to.
Ooh, a sycophantic goon squad. Hey, wait, didn't we have one of those just a little while ago? Do you remember when G. Gordon Liddy got in big trouble for saying on the air that the FBI was a bunch of jackbooted thugs?
Yes.
That man had foresight.
Now, it's really hard when you have people who are supposed to be serious figures in American politics say stuff like this.
Yeah. But again, they're saying it for the evening news just so they can have that 15 seconds, right?
A viral moment. Yeah.
Political opposition instead of the independent law enforcement agency that the nation needs and deserves. These votes will haunt my Republican colleagues.
Oh, sure they will. Yeah, they're going to haunt your Republic. No, they're not. Basically, bring in Kash Patel will bring in accountability, and that's what they're afraid of. That is going to come haunt the deep state. Whether those portions of the deep state are on the neocon side or the far left side or somewhere in that Democrat establishment side, well, yes, they fear accountability.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought 10 years ago I would have never thought I'd say this, but if we could have Democrats kind of return to the Clinton type era with Tip O'Neill and Bill Clinton, it would be wonderful. A friend of mine shared something the other day that DOGE had its own iteration years back with Clinton and Gore, and it was called RIGO, R-I-G-O, where they were talking about holding government accountability and cutting waste. But then the other night, Anderson Cooper apparently said there's no government waste.
And Anderson Vanderbilt says there are no receipts. Well, apparently the receipts are there, and Pam Bondi pulled some out, including this one saying 2.7 trillion we're going overseas Medicaid money.
Back to DOGE just for a second. Earlier, the subcommittee headed by Chairman Marjorie Taylor Greene, her and her staff discovered $2.7 trillion in improper payments to Medicare, Medicaid, overseas to people who should not have gotten it. Some of this room might have missed that press conference. Can you elaborate on what the president is thinking at this point?
Well, again, that's another example. There's a very long list of the fraud, waste, and abuse that DOGE is identifying on a daily basis. Elon Musk also talked about yesterday about Social Security payments that are going out the door for people who are no longer with us. Unfortunately, I would say that is certainly fraud. There's also a lot of contracts they've identified that, just as a hypothetical example, are $1 million, but only 500,000 went out the door. So where's the rest of that cash? And so that's the thing. Those are the things that DOGE is working on every single day. And I would just remind everybody in this room, this is what President Trump campaigned on doing. He's delivering on a promise that
Wow. All right. So what's the end game here, Chad? What are we doing with all this information, all this discovery, all this expose that we're going after?
Well, did you see the clip the other day about how apparently 6.5 million Social Security recipients are over the age 100?
Some of them were 150 years old.
Yeah, it's clearly fraud, right? So we're a free market economy. We're a free market country. We balance the books just like most states do, apart from California. And this is holding government accountable and making sure that we're efficient and we have proper allocation of our resources is just common sense. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it. And anyone who's pushing back on that, you have to wonder why they're pushing back on it. Are they corrupt, or are they just completely loony and upside down? They don't understand how the American economy works and how the American system works. It's really irritating, but facts and truth, these are real things.
Yeah.
And so the more data and the more information that comes out, the more power we'll have to do this.
Well, last question to you, Chad. Do you think President Trump is giving them a window right now to get out, to resign, to leave the country? Because clearly he's signaling, we're seeing stuff, we know what's going on. And I can see lots of Democrats have gone very, very quiet lately. Do you think that he's being a gentleman and saying, we could do it your way or we could do it my way? What would you like?
I think that's a really interesting take. And as we've seen, Trump has his populist rhetoric, which is obviously very popular, but at the same time, he seems to have a bit of compassion, and he's not kind of this mean, terrible person that the media paints him as being. So, maybe he's trying to give them a way out. He certainly hasn't necessarily engaged in lawfare like Biden had.
Yet it's only been 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, right. And obviously, and also at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen because of what we've mentioned with the corruption and just kind of the upside down nature of some of these leftists. So maybe Trump is giving them a way out, and hopefully, right? Hopefully they'll take that initiative and get out, resign. We'll be able to have more seats open in Congress and Senate and take advantage of it.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to have lots of special elections in our future. Chad, I want to thank you again for spending some time with us. That's the voice of Chad Hagen. He's a philanthropist, an author. Please buy his book, by the way, and a hedge fund manager and future MLB purchaser, maybe. I don't know.
I love baseball, so I'd definitely be going to the games. So hopefully,
right, we'll
it's so great to be with both of you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, Chris, we've got a lot more show to go. We got a lot more clips. Oh, my favorite meltdown. I'm telling you, this woman, I think they're trying to push her out. Look, she's been on TV every single day, right? It's not because she called up her press person going, get me on. It's because she either thinks that she is going to be the new face of the Democratic Party, or the Democratic Party's letting her make a fool of herself to get her out.
Oh, I think they enjoy the fact that these guys are making fools out of themselves. Only the problem is they gain more followers and dare I say, cult members that way. But listen to her very carefully. Listen to what Maxine Waters said very carefully on the House floor.
The people of this country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us. We don't know
I love this.
What all they have on us.
You heard that. We don't know what they have on us.
I mean, she's saying the quiet part out loud, Chris. I love it. Elon Musk has it all. And not only does he have it all, he's like running it through his AI programs and his systems. It's now part of the forever history, right? They can't hide from this. That's what they're scared about. This is their legacy. They've been trying to protect all this stuff forever. This woman should stay quiet. Right? Because now she's saying, hey, I'm the target. I know stuff and I know you know stuff. What's the point of her even having this to fearmonger further? Because she's actually just incriminating herself. No,
exactly, and that's what she's doing. But she slips up quite often. I mean, very recently she was screeching in defense of the South African policy of taking land from white farmers. And yes, there were murders, and there are videos out there.
Yeah,
it's the roast show. It's more of a comedy show. That's a really depressing discussion. We'll have to do that on some of the more serious formats we have. But having said that, this is a woman who's pretty much a clown. And does say things and does slip up, but people just look at her and they shrug her off on the left, saying, "Oh, that's just old Maxine just saying stuff." Well, we on the right know that's what they all think, and that's exactly how they act. She just is a little too Biden-esque, senile, I will say, to not have that filter anymore.
Yeah. Look, keep her on air. It gives us plenty of material to roast. She's better than The View, Chris.
Yes, she is, but maybe not better than MSNBC sometimes. And the best thing about DOGE, I contend, is this, that they got both Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow to
take a deep breath for just a moment and ponder big balls.
Yes, they got these two women to say big balls repeatedly over and over on air. It reminds me that, first off, that's probably the first time both of them ever said that. And secondly, think about this. It reminds me of the time that the show Growing Pains had uh,
Kirk
sneaking in
Cameron?
the word. Yeah, remember his best friend's name, Mike Seaver's best friend's name was Joey Stabone. So every
Okay.
time he would refer to Joey Stabone, he'd refer to the kid's nickname as Boner. So every show,
Ah,
almost every
yes.
show, Growing Pains would stick in the word boner on television. Now, this is family television, and boner was said repeatedly.
I love it. I never caught that as a kid, Chris. I'm glad you're bringing it up now. I got to rewind 30 years and try to remember that.
Well, we got to hear this too, because even the old tennis player herself, Rachel Maddow, says it too.
Edward, that fired intern, is now older and wiser. He's now 19 years old, and he now works for the president's top campaign donor. And in that capacity, 19-year-old Edward is now a, quote, senior advisor at the U.S. State Department, where he now has been given access to all of the IT and data management functions for the country's entire diplomatic operation in every country on earth. One current U.S. official telling the Washington Post, quote, this is dangerous. And hey, I'm no expert, but it doesn't sound good. Kind of does sound like a national security concern to have a 19-year-old who already in his young life has a history of leaking sensitive information, and then to give that 19-year-old access to all
Really
stop you there.
has a whole background of leaking sensitive information at 19?
Yes, apparently that's the big thing. She's upset that somebody's going to tell on the government. And get this gets even better, right? Gets even better. She's upset because some 19-year-old is filtering through government, records and finding things out that, well, most people older than him might not be able to find. There are such things called such things called whiz kids. These kids are very smart. Some of these kids are very smart these days. And I want one more thing here, and this is something to ponder as well. Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow. You whine about this kid, big balls, being 19 years old. Again, probably a very smart tech whiz kid, but aren't you the same people who followed blindly a 13-year-old semi-special girl who lectures to you about the climate? This is your climate science guru.
Wow.
And
nice.
you're telling us that a 19-year-old whiz kid who actually has a record of revealing things that are wrong, bring him out to the public, is a bad guy or is way too young.
This is why Chris is the master roaster. He is so good. That was such a good punch. Look, absolutely. And you know what's killing liberals right now? And I'll say the word liberals. They don't control any facet of the government or any of the branches. All they have are the Obama appointed judges left, right? And what are they going to do? Guess what? They're just going to delay it. And even if they did rule against Trump, well, who's going to enforce it? The DOJ? It's like they haven't thought this through. We have to help liberals think 2 chess moves ahead. Again, what are they doing? They're just making a fool of themselves on TV, like Maxine Waters, and they're going to put their liberal judges to block certain things. But for what? A period of time? And even if there is a ruling, again, it goes nowhere. So this is the new reality. They're going to therapy, I think, more like their numbers are like through the roof. I'm sure talk therapy is making a lot of money right now.
Well, think about this. I'm not the master roaster. I'm not even close to it because the master happens to be of another party. It will be Mr. James Carville, who is roasting his own party once again, telling us all. And this is an interesting theory because I actually gave this thought at several junctures. Never thought it was true, but now after watching the left for the last 8 years, and it gets worse with them. James Carville was wondering or pondering the idea if there's a plant in the progressive wing to see how many stupid things that they can embrace and push forth into the public. Math is racist. Essays shouldn't be around because they're too harmful. There are young people who think punctuation is scares them when you text them.
Punctuations are scary. That's a new one. I've not heard that.
Yeah, and I love when he refers to Kamala Harris as the seventh string quarterback when it came to running for president. Look, because they backed themselves into a corner, they couldn't pass over a woman of color for somebody else.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I don't like Tim Walz either, but he did draw the short straw and had to run as her vice president. So both of their political careers are toast.
James Carville was one of the first Democrats to come out to say that Biden should not be running, that he can't run. James Carville knew, he saw the writings on the wall going, why are we going down this pathway? Not only are we going to lose the presidency in the White House, we're going to lose all these down ballot seats, you guys. He was sounding the alarm like a year before the election. And then remember, he did a total 180 at some point. So someone had a chat with him. But this is he's a well-respected guy. I mean, like him or not, he did win for Bill Clinton, right? Very famously. So it's like he saw what was going on. But it's so weird to me that even Bill Clinton and the Clintons and everybody else just kind of stayed quiet when Joe Biden was completely falling on his face. And then when Kamala Harris came on, they didn't say anything either. Why, Chris? Why did such prominent Democrats not sound the alarm? And when one did, he was pulled back down into the crab barrel.
Oh, because they know that the current crop of Democrats are a collective embarrassment. I mean, again, your major thought leaders happen to be the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who, by the way, reminds me of the Saturday Night Live sketch or the news, the one from the news segment, the girl that you don't want to strike a conversation with at a party or have a conversation with. And you have this Ayanna Presley, who's yapping on about everything. I don't even know if she's even around anymore. I haven't seen much from her.
She's wearing a Matrix leather outfit the other day,
right?
Which was what are you doing wearing that? And you're a congresswoman? It's so weird, but hey, it's a runway.
Yeah, but again, these are their thought leaders, and what was it? Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters. They were pathetic when they tried to chant last week during a rally. It's become. We already knew they were a party of optics and chants. Now it's a party. It's just an embarrassment of optics, chants, and TikTok star thought leaders.
Well, I wonder if that's part of the strategy, Chris, because, as much as we like to roast them and make fun of them, they're actually not dumb people, right? No. Clearly, you can't be a congressperson and be that dumb. Well, there are exceptions. I take that back.
There are a few, yes.
There are a few.
Yeah, have we not heard Mazie Hirono on this show?
We did roast her once, but barely. I would love to take another stab at her. But again, I think that... And I have to just wrap my brain around this. There is an audience for that, right? Maybe not my audience and certainly not my voters, but maybe there's an audience out in Hawaii that loves the way she talks. Maybe.
Well, you know what? And you cued me for the closing here. The video of the week, a video we're not going to roast, but we are going to celebrate. This is the best video of 2025 so far. This is the USAID signage being removed from the headquarters, as the agency is being kind of sucked into the State Department, which probably should have been a long time ago. But let's watch this and revel in it. Well, nice drum.
Did you put this background music, Chris?
No, this is not mine. I can't credit myself on this one.
Choplin?
Janis Chopin.
Oh, man.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, that's got to sting. Oh, they're putting a black trash bag. Very appropriate.
Trash goes into the trash. And on that note, we close out.
Thank you guys again for another wonderful episode. Thank you, Chris, for everything that you do. I bet you guys don't know this, but Chris has all his fingers on all the mechanisms here. He's the one who's doing the producing and the engineering and the sound and the video. I'm just a talking head. I mean, I'm useless. He did this whole thing. So thank you so much, Chris.
Now you're the reason people watch. I'm just the nerd.
No, I'm the nerd. I want to be the nerd. I'm the data nerd, you guys. In fact, I'm going to wear a shirt that says that next time.
All right,
I love this stuff.
Can you laugh like a nerd? I can't. Oh, I used to be able to do that
hurts
really well.
The back of my head.
So then you can't be a nerd. You have to be. You're definitely the cool chick.
Wait, I'm going to work on that nerdy laugh.
You're the mean girl. There we go.
That's just me
The
choking
mean
on
girl-
a chicken bone. I don't think that's
You're the mean girls trying to show off nicely to the principal that you can hang around with the nerd every once in a while.
I'm the mean girl.
You said it, as a matter of fact.
I've always wanted to be the mean girl, but I find that the mean girls are not smart enough. Like they're
No.
just mean because that's their only currency.
Yeah.
Like I want to be the next level, the 2.0 of mean girls that can be mean, but also like, smart. So maybe that's where I'm like, there's a self-conflict, you guys. I'm working it through. Some talk therapy is needed for sure. So we'll see. But again, we're at episode 19. We're climbing up there. Thank you for everyone who's tuning in. I know we really appreciate the numbers. And yeah, give us some stuff to roast. Chris, what's our email? Like we should probably tell people how to reach us sometime.
No, it's crimeroasttv@gmail.com. That's right.
There
It's a
you
good
go.
idea. And like and subscribe. We never tell you to do that, but we're going to ask you kindly to do so if you like
Yes.
what we're doing. I know you see the visuals down there, but who pays attention to those? You want to hear our cool voices too.
Yeah. And look, we want materials, we want feedback. Let us know what we're doing right and what we're getting super wrong. But yeah, we love that you guys are watching, and definitely stay tuned next week. We've got another great episode, more guests coming on. We've got a pretty special lineup from what Chris tells me. There's some heavy hitters coming on at some point. So hopefully we'll get that going. And yeah, every week will be a surprise. So thank you guys very much for tuning in.